I'm Anna.
I'm Ben.
We're AutoSave. Welcome to our channel.
Today we're watching Rezero, Season 2, Episode 22. There are a couple of fights that we could be watching right now. We could be watching the Ram Puck Roswell fight. We could be watching the Garf Elsa fight. Or we could be watching a conversation that might become a verbal fight between Subaru and Betty.
Did you ever think that you would say the Ram Roswell Puck fight in a sentence?
No.
That's like the most surprising of the. Well, actually, Garf Frederica and Elsa is also.
Frederica's not a part of the fight.
Yes, she left.
But I want to see them all, and I hope they're not all happening at the same time so that I can see them all. But I think I'm most excited to see the conversation between Betty and Subaru. I have no idea what's going to come of it, but I know it's going to be amazing.
Okay, rank them. Which are you most excited to go right into in this next episode?
Because we left off on the dialogue between Subaru and Betty, that is what I'm going to say is my number one.
Okay. Yeah, Subaru and Betty is my number one, and like you said, excited because that's where we left off, but mainly because I love Betty and she's my favorite.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's fair. You ready?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Woo! Could tell by the sound.
Yeah, he is. Nice!
Oh! Using his teeth! To do your part.
I love Frederica's voice actress. Oh!
Ooh! Is that the floor?
Whew! I love the sound that comes after she swings.
We know.
This is great. Okay.
Yeah!
All right.
Forcefully. No.
Is it like a sense of relief?
Yep. We know that she asked Subaru to kill her.
Wow. But we know from her.
いつまでも振り回されてんじゃねえ。お前が選べ、ベアトリス。後期が1回ぐらい巡ってくるには十分すぎる時間じゃねえ。
何を言われても契約なのよ。
その契約の裏口探して出ようとしたやつがよく言うぜ。僕守ってお前が死ぬなら約束破ってお前が委託をするのがそんなに不思議か。
開き直りで身勝手な考えかしら。
香りなの分かってるし、身勝手なのも分かってる。大事なもんは絶対譲らない。
Whew.
お前がその人だったら、お前がベティのその人になってくれるの。
バカかお前。俺がお前のその人なんてわけのわからねえだろ。バカ。早とちりロリー。とっくに逃げてるはずだろ。魔獣です。すでにそこら。
Oh fuck.
メイリーか。泉じゃん。これ
が全然効かない魔獣がいるの。
マジか。どうして。
お怪我はありませんか。
Whew.
It's like, how is Rem attached to her? Like on her back?
申し訳ありません、オットー様。
She's like tied to her with a
With
blanket.
the sheet, maybe?
Yeah.
女、子供、男。で、オットーか。
それより当座の問題は
The Maw Beast.
Whoa, it's a hippopotamus.
An angry hippo.
Man.
Aren't hippos like really dangerous?
Yeah.
メイリー。
I love hippos.
お兄さんたら驚かないのね。メイドさんたちは私がもらっちゃうわね。
That means Petra's already seen that her friend.
優しくしてあげる。お友達だもの。お友達なら見逃してくれてもいいんだよ。お友達だもの。してくれるのよね。あ、すばらごめん。全然だね。
Good shot.
あの少女、いえ、資格はフレデリカ姉様。だってさっきも。今度は違いますわ。さっきは死ぬ覚悟でしたもの。弟と10年越しに再会して、こんなに可愛い後輩がいて幸せの絶頂ですのよ。だから負けませんわ。ちょっと勝手に決めないでよ、ペトラちゃん。
Oh, look at it.
Oh, it's smiling. Oh.
I love it. Oh, that's a badass
Finest
line.
hospitality.
ロゾアールの執務室に避難経路がある。そこから。
What?
Guilty low.
魔獣よけが効かない。
ありうべからざる今を見ろ。
An unthinkable present.
こらリア、ふらふら頭を揺らさないの。おとなし
Oh.
く
Like an as if. What her present would be like.
Yeah.
フォルトナ母様。どうしたの？寝ぼけてるの？すごく可愛い。何を言い出すかと思ったら。
I like that in this unthinkable present, they both have the hair clip.
鏡はエミリア？
エミリア様、おはようございます。迎え。
You're gonna have to be like completely okay with leaving this reality.
時間通りね。
They're going off as a family.
Oh, I love Fortuna's hat. It's amazing.
いえ、お気を悪くされなければ良いのです。
朝らジュースに何を言われてもどうもしません。
Go ahead and say it.
では、フォルトナ様、本日のお召し物が大変お似合いです。少しばかり見惚れてしまいました。
I hate you, Rezero. I hate you for giving me this, but not actually giving me this. Look at how upset Fortuna is.
そんなことないわ。ちゃっただけよ。母様ったら可愛い。言わないの。ほんとたちが悪いんだから。親子で仲良しね。
愛されておられますね。
そうね。
いいですね。
I'm gonna cry. I wanna cry.
ほらもう背ばっかり大きくなっちゃって。
What a twist on Echidna's tea party.
一緒に暮らせばいいんじゃない？
大変嬉しい申し出です、エミリア様。私もそうしたいと心から思います。
できればじゃなくて、そうしたらいいのに私が邪魔なの？
そんなことはありません。フォルトナ様は大事なお役目のあるお方です。よからぬ噂が立ってはご迷惑になりますから。
手遅れのような気がするけど、男性おばさまたちが言ってたじゃない。
What a cute family.
仲良し親子ねって。
あれはてっきりお二人のこと。
No, you were included. 100%.
本当は分かってたでしょ。すごーくいいと思う。いいと思うの。私が誰にも絶対に言わせないから。私の言いたいことは言いましたよ。二人に任せて。
I'm having to do so much mental work to remind myself that this is not real.
It's just like you're in the trial yourself.
Yeah.
本当にすごくか。
Yeah.
私目にゴミが入っちゃったかも。洗ってくるね。大丈夫？うっかり目を落としてこないよ。綺麗な至根の瞳なんだから。それと母様と仲良く待っててね。ずっとすごく仲良しでいてね。はいはい。
いつまでもお待ちしております、エミリア様。
二人とも大好き。
エミリア、こんなところに一人で危ないじゃないか。二人っきりに？
そうなの。アーチから見てあの二人ってどう？
幸せを考えてもいいのにって。時間をかければお二人も。
でもな世界はどこにもないのね。
エミリア、ありうべからざる今を見て、ここで暮らしたいとは思えなかったのかい？二人に幸せになってほしいと思ったはずだ。は君の理想の今、
The ideal
君が望んだ未来なんだから。
そうね。
フォルトナ様はすでに死んで、今の安否は不明で、森のみんなも氷像に故郷は氷漬けになり、外の人間には迫害され、天の精霊とも別れ別れになって、幸せでいられるのに君がかわいそうだよ。
ごめんねアーチ。かっこよくしていたいの。
エミリア、
フォルトナ母様みたいに優しくて強いジュースみたい。最後まで私を
Very
怖がら
end
せ
so that I wouldn't be scared.
アーチみたいにしないで守り続けてくれたパックみたいに、人のために一番その人のためになることをしたいと願える。そのために頑張れるオットー君みたいに、弱音も泣き言も絶対に言わない。だらけで苦しんで私を好きだって言って無茶ばっかり人たちにカッコつけられる私でいたい。これ
I
か
want to
ら
look
は
admirable to all of
誰か
them.
に手を差し伸べてあげたい。未来も怖くなんてないわ。大丈夫だよアーチお兄ちゃん。私にこの世界を見せてくれて、見られる日が来るなんて思ってなかった。だからありがとう。君はエキドナ？君が憎い。ただ君が憎い。
It makes you think, why are these the trials that Echidna created?
Yeah.
Was it something that she wanted to see for herself? Wishes she had?
私って本当にどれぐらい守られ続けてたんだ。
Whoa. Wow.
思ったよりフォルトナ母様に似てなくて残念。心配してくれてありがとう。怪我もしてません。ごめんなさい。まだ約束の試練が全部終わっ、スバルたちから聞いてくれてるはずよね。この聖域に留めておく理由はなくなったの。私が必ず解いてみせるけど、家族のところ。
スバル様たちから？ おい、なんか言われ
ですのでエミリア様、約束通りお待ちしてます。
They're gonna wait until she finishes it. They're gonna wait. Oh my god.
そ
Wow.
れにエミリア様のご活躍に期待している私どもだけではありませんよ。
リュウジさんと聖域の人たち、その様子じゃと2つ目の試練を乗り越えられたようじゃな。まずはそのことに関し重い腰を上げることができた。
心を決めかねています。信用していいものかどうかをです。あの坊やの怒鳴り声を皆聞いていました。マリアがどんな気持ちでいたのか、それを知って情けない。あいつはまだ14の子供だ。あの子は立派だ。そしてエミリア様、だから見届けさせてください。
終わらせて、その時きちんと話をしましょう。
約束します。必ず。
外資真面目すぎる。途中で私からじじゃはじじゃ。
すみません、長老。
I
と
love
もあれ
Ryuzu.
わしらの意見は今の通りじゃ。これもどうされた？リュウズさんが長老って呼ばれてるのを聞いて驚いちゃった。ラムがどこかわかる？ラムは外せぬお役目があるそう。エミリア様はエミリア様のそれを果たしましょうだそうじゃ。
Everyone's working together now.
Everyone's
Everyone-
doing their own part.
これじゃ
Everyone's doing their
行っ
own
てきま
part.
す。
Oh, can this episode be longer and we can see the next trial?
Or more of the puck fight
Oh,
with
right.
Razzle and Ram.
いずれ来たる最悪に向き合い。
Face the disaster that is yet to come.
What?
Okay, that was ReZero Season 2, Episode 22. I feel like everything's perfect and going great. And I have, like, just, like, this cynical, like, defensive side of me that's like, oh, what if something happens? But I don't believe anything bad's gonna happen. I think that everything's gonna be good here, but I care about it.
Right. As the show goes, there have been times where I have declared, even within myself, this is the time.
Mhm.
This is the time we will not have to use the power that has been given to us of return by death, and we will complete whatever this little arc is, and we will go forward. And there have been times that I've had that thought, and obviously, like, almost immediately that thought has been quelched and, trampled upon by mob beasts, and clear to me that we're gonna have to restart. This time, though, and why I feel secure in that is because of something that you said at the very end of us watching, which is everyone is playing their own part here. We are all working together, but doing our part. There's no I in team. There's no Subaru trying to work alone or Amelia trying to do this alone and unsupported. Everyone is supported. Everyone is, even if they are not together, they are cheering the other on.
Like, this is all, like, considering everything we have learned about the past with Roswell and Ryuzu and Echidna, as well as what we have learned about the present and the things that we have had to overcome in terms of, like, each other and getting on the same page and trusting each other, it feels truly poetic that, in my impression, Betty's the last domino that needs to fall. Like,
That's what it seems.
yeah, like, in terms of, like, I don't know, like, what that would mean, like, for going against the opposition of Roswell or Echidna would feel so, like, perfect in a way.
It's like Elsa and Meili aren't even the real threats here or the real purpose for what's happening at the mansion. As you said, the last domino to fall. If you think about it, each of the current battles, if you will, are with the three kind of essential people in mind of Echidna, Roswell, Betty.
Yeah.
That those are all the dominoes that have to fall. The sanctuary barrier, Roswell, and what he was going to try to do with Ryuzu, and kind of stopping him with Ram, and then saving Betty. Those are the three, and to bring back to the past that those were the three together connected as their own form of family, similar to what Amelia saw in her unthinkable present for herself. Like, to Betty, those almost are similar to parental figures to her.
Yeah.
Raised by the mother, there is a man that's always coming to visit. You
Dude,
know?
I was so looking forward to the Betty Subaru conversation, and it delivered in such a way I didn't I didn't think about it delivering. Like, I was out of my mind emotional at the idea of Betty being like, everybody leaves me behind, and listing off of people's names that she doesn't necessarily know how much Subaru even knows about in terms of their connection. But then Betty getting to the point of breaking down and being like, well, you could be that person. Would you be that person for me? And Subaru's like, are you stupid? Are you dumb? I was like, what the fuck? This is awesome.
I think that something that ReZero does well with that specific scene in mind, there's a lot of, with obviously this idea of return by death and retrying things, there's going to be repetition. There's going to be conversations or dialogue pieces that are going to happen each time, because that's just how things work.
Yeah.
And so a lot of this initial Betty conversation is taken from the multiple others that we have had in trying to save her and the mansion. But it doesn't feel boring.
Yeah.
And I think that ReZero does that well. I mean, if you're gonna give a product, a show, a narrative that the whole core of the narrative kind of moving forward is with this kind of repetition and going back and forth momentum, you're gonna have to be like, okay, I need to be smart about how I write this so it doesn't bore the audience because they've already heard this conversation before.
Within this iteration of Subaru, after everything with Otto happened this season, Subaru's been so good at giving enough to somebody who needs help, but not too much. Like, just enough to propel them to be able to make their own assumptions for themselves, or to get to their own conclusions within their own head.
It's something he's learned, is not try to answer the question for someone else or get in front of their own growth.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something he had to learn really closely with Amelia, is don't just be like, I'll do the trials for you.
It's so refreshing, because like what it does is not only strengthen the bond between you and that person, but it gives more like foundation for that own person's belief in themselves. Like, obviously we've seen it with Amelia, but with Betty here, it comes, like, I'm trying to relate it, like everything in this show, to be honest, like to my life, because I feel like ReZero is really important to my life and like the lessons that it is, you know, put forward. And I think it's easy to make comparisons for not just me, but probably a lot of people. Like, imagine having just like a serious belief in your own way of going about life, and somebody who is close to you not coming at you in like a, this is the right answer, this is the wrong answer, but the bluntness of like breaking the tension of Subaru being like, are you dumb, to once Betty's like trying to like get an answer here. It in my life, I feel like that would be so beneficial, like to have that kind of, like I'm imagining friendships I have with people that were blunt with each other, but like in a appropriate way that's kind of funny, but also like come on, you get what I'm trying to say. And I feel like that's so much more effective, because when somebody comes to their own conclusion, it's going to mean a lot more at the end of the day.
Right. And Betty does come to her own immediate conclusion here, and it is the wrong one. She read the situation wrong, as Subaru kind of says as he is blasted out of the room. He's like, unbelievable, that idiot. Tries to get in. Damn that Lolly and her jumping to conclusions.
But like the reason that I even brought up the idea of Betty coming in here against this mob beast that we come up to, that the crystal wasn't enough, it feels like there's a chance, based off of how Subaru ended and dismounted that being thrown into the wall, was enough to get Betty to think about things a little bit more, even on her own.
Right. I think that it's really great to bring up, especially because we know that she really is one of the most important aspects of this fight, or at the mansion, she is one of the most important factors that we need to kind of get over. And that is what Echidna's kind of desire was, to see what Betty will choose. What Betty will choose for herself. What person she will choose as her person. That's what Echidna's been waiting to and watching for entertainment, if you will. And the whole core of that conversation that Subaru had, the meat of it, the emotional meat of that conversation was, make a choice for yourself, Betty.
Yeah.
Make a choice. Like, that's really, Subaru gets in her face, grabs like her wrists, and is telling her this. And I feel like if she has a moment by herself after blasting him out of the room, that is going to be what she remembers from the conversation.
It's so well done, because it's Betty bringing up the point. It's like Subaru's like gone into this knowing exactly what the fuck he needed to do and say to Betty to get her to reaffirm her own ideals back to him, saying like, what choice have I made? What decisions like were really mine? When have I ever done this? So that Subaru could therefore be like, why start, do it now. Like,
there's room for her to do that. She, as a character, is stubborn and initially reactive. I mean, we saw her friendship with Ryuzu. She's always kind of been this way, where she doesn't want to completely lay all her cards on the table or be super vulnerable with you, but you can tell that she's just putting up kind of this front and this character.
Yeah.
And she's actually very vulnerable and very scared of being alone.
What did you take away from Betty, like, immediately understanding that it was Roswaal? Like, I loved that for the intelligence of her character and being able to just, like, make sense of it. I loved that moment.
I did too. But also, what does that mean for her? The betrayal of that.
Yeah. I don't know. It comes with what her outlook would be. God.
Well, especially because her outlook there is the same as what we saw either the last life or the life before, where she asks Subaru to be the one to kill her.
Yeah.
She has relief in it.
The rock piggy was so cool.
Rock piggy.
Yeah.
I would be scared of a hippo or rock piggy, excuse me, if it came toward me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would be terrified in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
Definitely.
But, like, being able to sit 10 feet away from a screen and, like, be able to watch it and, like, look at how, like, its ears look.
One of the scariest parts of it was when it turned to the side and you could see the teeth and the smile.
That was so cool.
Ooh.
I liked Petra's, like, attempt as per Subaru's recommendation of being like, yo, we're friends, right? Like, just let me go.
And then when she's like, hey, and then Petra turns back and is like,
one of my favorite additions that I didn't see coming for me this season is Garf in the way that I'm really appreciating him as a character, because like I've loved all the development for him so far, but one of the best moments of it had nothing to do with him this episode, and that was when the people of the sanctuary were coming up to Amelia being like, Garf is such a hard worker and this is what he's doing. It makes me 14. Feel ashamed. Like, yeah. I loved that moment. Amelia owns this arc for me. Like, obviously, like Echidna, period, but Amelia, like her growth as a character and where she is at has meant the world to me.
She, instead of being first season, Amelia was a pedestal kind of item. She was a doormat, if you will, for Subaru being the main character and trying to work through his own stuff. She was just like there as a pretty statue that he wanted to impress or save. And now in this season, we have to finish the work on Subaru initially. We have to finish the work of showing him that he needs to love himself more, and that there are people out there that are going to want to support him, and that he shouldn't be trying to do everything for other people. He shouldn't be going at this alone. There are people that will care about him too. He needs to love himself. So we kind of get him through the rest of the work that was needing to be done from season 1 in order to kind of bring Amelia forward as maybe even more so of a main character than she even was in season 1.
Yeah.
She is not just this pretty statue of this elf girl that's like super cute character design that the main character's swooning over.
Yeah.
She's not that anymore. She's gonna do her own part in this story.
I like that because that's legitimate character development.
Yeah.
I like watching characters develop and grow. Quickly, I know this isn't really what we were just talking about, but I really enjoyed this line from Frederica before her entrance into battle, saying, "Please enjoy the finest hospitality of the Mather's house has to offer." Thought that was cold.
That was a very great cold line. Definitely appreciated that. This battle's different for Frederica. Before, she was like willing to die or okay with death, and now she's like, Petra, I'm not gonna lose because I don't want to die.
I just reunited with my brother. The shot that we get of Amelia jumping into the water with the reflection is one of my favorite shots in this entire show so far.
No wonder it was one of the best shots and one of the best moments in this episode, because it's literally the title of the episode.
Yeah.
Happiness reflected on water's surface.
Oh, that's the name of the episode?
That was the name of the episode.
Damn.
And so this moment, do you remember what dialogue she said?
About not looking as much like Fortuna?
And she's okay with that.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, okay. I was hoping I looked a little bit more like her. It's almost very like trivial, mundane thought. It's not deep sentimental, which shows that she is able to cast this off and not have it hold like this burden on her back. She's able to like leave this unthinkable present.
Yeah.
She's able to just leave it and with a little surface level comment about her looks.
Yeah.
And it shows to us, the viewer, that she's able to really just detach herself from it. That she's not holding on to this. This isn't going to burden her emotionally. She's leaving this.
What'd you think of Echidna? You disgust me. I just hate you so much with tears. I thought that you brought up an interesting point of like why were these specific trials created, you know?
Mm-hmm. Right. Especially because what we're dealing with in each of the separate story points are Echidna's family. Echidna's version of this family that Amelia is seeing in the present, with Betty being Amelia, I guess, in the scenario, and Echidna being Mother Fortuna.
Yeah.
And that's why my brain is going towards the direction that because of how similar their storylines are, that is more the reason why, not just who Amelia is, but she might also see a connection between her and Amelia.
Mm.
And that is why she's so disgusted. And it's because of their similar stories and how Amelia's able to just get through this and be like, you know, be a stronger person for it, that's why it's so disgusting for Echidna. Because, yeah, why are these the trials that she created? Why did she see these as the ultimate trials? If not, she thought they would be for herself.
Mm. Or at least come from a place of thinking like, okay, what would be difficult for a person to do? What would be difficult for me to do? Mm-hmm. God. As a character, would she be willing to do this for herself? Facing a disaster that's yet to come. Yeah. It could be anything. It could literally be anything. It could be, who knows how long in the future. Since this trial wasn't necessarily based in reality, and like that these players aren't alive right now, does that apply to this next trial, at least in like a disaster that's yet to come? Could you see a version of Subaru that doesn't exist, or a way of him talking that doesn't exist, or or would it be an event that's based in like, I don't know, characters acting as we would know them? I think that the characters themselves would still act as the way that we know them and as Amelia knows them. I think that the disaster would probably come from other forces or them losing. Because we do know, obviously, Subaru has lost many, many times. It is only on the last chance, like the last time he enters into that arc, that he succeeds. Amelia could see for herself what one of those initial failures would look like, and see Subaru die. I wonder if it would be like Amelia being able to kind of look outside of the sanctuary right now and be like seeing everybody at the mansion like failing in their fights and dying, and then seeing like Ram and Puck losing to Roswaal and dying.
Interesting. Like, she's in this trial right now. We're all doing our own part. She knows everyone else is off fighting and doing something important right now. What if that future she's seeing is that while she was in this building, all of them failed?
Yeah. I don't know. Like, and then thinking of, like, if we're going with the concept of why Echidna would be coming up with trials, a specific of facing a disaster that's yet to come, is that, like, the devil of melancholy showing up, or what would that be in her own instance?
Mm-hmm. She was preparing for him, but he was quicker than she.
Yeah.
And so then, I think that if we think back to when the devil of melancholy showed up, it was not Echidna's first choice to sacrifice Ryuzu.
Yeah.
It was just,
seemingly,
shoot, now the timeline is in crunch time, and you are now the best option, and the quickest option. But it was not the only option on the table at first. Just with the timeline entering into an emergency zone, it became... But I feel
I hate the name Hector. I don't like it anymore.
You're right to bring up, though, that we don't know for sure for Echidna, because we didn't see her face for the entirety of that
Echidna's
flashback.
so fascinating, man. Like, she's such an interesting character. Like, I'm glad that she has been prominent until this point. I'm fearful that, well, I kind of expect after this season's over, we wouldn't really see much of Echidna going forward. But I don't know.
I'm trying to find how she described herself. She describes herself as an evil witch that occasionally does nice things.
Yeah. You know what? It's kind of weird because I love this episode more than anything, but unlike every Rezero episode ever, it doesn't feel like there's
so
a billion things to talk about.
Right. I mean, my notebook, because we take notes, was much... I think I was only on one page when normally I think I span across 4. And that's just because I'm not looking at the paper when I'm writing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, shoot, I don't want to rewrite on top of something I've already written.
I
was only on 1.
Next episode that we start, it's going to be my 3rd notebook for Rezero.
I wonder by the time we're done with Rezero content, even in the future, if there's more Rezero content, I wonder how many notebooks you'll inevitably have.
But it's what I love it. Like one of my biggest regrets is during a series ripping a notebook, because like I couldn't like handle it in the moment, but looking back, like it means so much to me.
Right.
Like my notebook means a lot to me, like for every series that we do, but it specifically shows like the one that I'm referencing, and then like Rezero, when there's so much like lore and speculation and like trying to understand, you can see like a progress of like, I don't know, trains of thought like throughout them, and I love it.
It's like, even if you picked this off of a bookshelf, our notebooks, and you were like, let me start reading it, it's not gonna make total sense, because it's just like the things that were important to us, which are always going to be different.
Yeah.
I mean, there are things about each episode that I will find a dialogue piece that I think is like so beautiful that I'm like so shocked by it, and then that's my focus. You might be more like, this is a chain of events.
1x25 scattered to the rainbow's end, and then having Amelia acknowledge Subaru as a knight, you know, like these are all just worthy vessel. God. Man,
that you are not a witch beyond our comprehension.
1x17, who is Rem?
Who is Rem? It's a great question.
I feel like, especially in terms of like trying to discern when we were trying to figure out who Amelia's parents actually are, and we were going through like Minerva, Daphne, Carmilla, Sekhmet, and Typhon, like that's so much fun to be able to just like bring up everything we've listed for the characters and traits and comparing. All right, that's all I have. You. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.